The two main Russian propaganda channels, Sputnik and Russia Today, have been blocked for a year now by a decision of the European Union. However, employees of their European offices do not feel this. So in France, those who continue to promote the narratives of the Kremlin terrorist regime are regularly paid their salaries all year round, according to political investigators. After blocking TV broadcasts, the growth of propaganda in Europe switched to the internet platform, and although you can get to it only with the help of VPN services, this did not affect the work of propagandists in any way.
Since European sanctions didn't ban Russia Today France from operating, it kept on doing just that. Russia Today France's website is still fed with the latest news from the country and beyond, with a live feed available via VPN. It continues online broadcasts of talk shows, programs filmed in the heart of Paris, and documentaries in Russian-dubbed French. In the past year, the outlet's editorial line even moved closer to that of the Kremlin's propaganda, according to research by Radio France, from the political investigation.
Politicians and Europarliamentarians from far-right parties even appear on the air of the Russia Today France, who speak with pro-Putin rhetoric. However, the influence of these channels of Russian propaganda in Europe has declined significantly, so now they have refocused on the French-speaking countries of Africa.
Since Russia was ousted from Europe, it's reinvesting the informational field in Africa, and we must adapt to the consequences. The French-speaking side will continue to exist, powered from Moscow, and will try to develop in the Maghreb and francophone sub-Saharan Africa. Representatives of French state institutions for the political investigation.
Meanwhile, for the internal viewer, propaganda tries to present its vision of reality. Especially a lot of fakes are created on topics that are painful for the Kremlin. Thus, according to the estimate of the publication Visegrad Insight, 15% of the entire Russian information field is filled with information that the sanctions allegedly do not harm Moscow, given that the current sanctions regime has already caused enormous damage to the Russian budget. Even worse is the situation with Putin's personality cult. Recently, there has been a massive data leak of Roskomnadzor. The Süddeutsche Zeitung studied them and found that the Russian regulator censored articles, posts and memes about Putin on social networks. Even as absurd as it is, Putin's propaganda system has enormous influence inside Russia, experts say.
It is a closed space in which there is no alternative information, and in fact they are simply moving towards the center of the earth, storming with an increasingly emotional picture, increasingly harsh and emotional rhetoric, selling hatred and sharp emotions to the population like a hard drug. Then it will be very difficult for society to get over it. Therefore, if we talk about the external factor, about the external field, then Russian propaganda has already lost today, and we see its remnants. But if we talk about the internal field, then it is still stronger than ever here.
Ukraine is also participating in the eradication of Russian informational influence on the West. In addition to submitting recommendations on personal sanctions, work is underway to create a unified Western strategy to combat Russian disinformation. Already this autumn, a special forum to counter Russian propaganda will be held in the global information space. Minister of Culture and Information Policy of Ukraine, Oleksandr Tkachenko, said that the forum would become a kind of information Rammstein. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Danilo Kobza, UATV News.